Ames Public Library, 12 to try. Ames Library employees seated at a table with books.
Hi, I'm Seth, a librarian here at the Ames Public Library.
And I'm Anessa, librarian here at the Ames Public Library as well.
And we're here to give you recommendations for our third annual 12 to Try reading challenge for the month of May. Your challenge is to read a historical fiction novel. Stay tuned for our suggestions, or come to the library, ask us questions, or check out our display promoting the challenge. You want to kick us off, Anessa?
Sure. My first book that I'd like to recommend is The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics by Olivia Waite. It is an extremely charming historical romance that tells the story of Lucy, a plucky and perceptive young astronomer, and Catherine, a stalwart young widow, who team up to translate and publish a groundbreaking work by a French scientist. It's set in early 19th century England and features well-rounded characters and absolutely lush descriptions of Regency-era high society. I would definitely recommend this book to fans of Bridgerton. There's lots of banter, lots of longing, lots of yearning, excellent chemistry between the two women, plus the two of them pairing up to take on the scientific establishment is drama gold. It definitely hits all of the beats of an excellent romance, and Lucy and Catherine's chemistry just sizzles. If you like it, I would also recommend the sequel, which is The Care and Feeding of Waspish Widows.
Good titles. And let me compliment you on your choice. I've just picked two kind of straight up historical fiction novels, but if you're a genre reader, hey, if you read romance, come grab a historical romance. If you read mysteries, come grab a historical mystery. You don't even have to leave your comfort zone. You can complete this challenge.
Yep.
If you're looking to expand your horizons, though, you could try something like this. You Dreamed of Empires by Mexican author Álvaro Enrigue and translated to English by Natasha Wimmer. And it gives you an inside view of just one day in history, the day Hernán Cortés rode into the Aztec capital during the Spanish conquest of what would become Mexico. This is not a book. You can see the side-on view. Not too many pages here. It's not going to drown you in full-on pages of historical backstory or detail. You just get chucked in, and mostly you follow around characters who are just as confused as you are, which is kind of nice. It's a figure things out as you go sort of book. But one thing you'll never have to puzzle out is the pronunciations, because the author, in like a really thoughtful author intro, a foreword, gives you some ground rules that you can use. And he says that if you use these rules, you can experience, quote, the warmth of the language of the ancient Mexicans, which is cool. You get to say things like Tenochtitlan and Atotoxtli and Tlilpotonki, as if you have like a lot of confidence instead of just stumbling through them. So I appreciated that. And finally, the weirdest thing about reading history or historical fiction is that it takes you a long time to get into the headspace to remember that the people in the book you're reading they live in their own present, and they do not understand all these intervening years that you know exist. It's hard to forget that about all this historical knowledge that you have. And here's where the author of this book pulls his best trick. He makes you forget all of that intervening history between our time and the time of the book. And Cortés and Montezuma, at the kind of the denouement of this title, they get together, they get absolutely bombed out of their minds on magic mushrooms, and events hang in the balance. And the author presents these two different versions of the future. And somehow the version that we live in seems no more or less plausible than the version where you and I, Anessa, never even exist. And that, I thought, was a really cool trick.
Fascinating. I'm going to have to add that to my TBR list.
It's a good one.
So my next book that I'd like to recommend is The Life of Herod the Great by Zora Neale Hurston. Now this book has kind of an interesting story attached to it. It was an incomplete novel at the time of Hurston's death in the 60s. And after her death, a janitor was hired to clean out her house. And the janitor had no idea who this lady was, right? No idea that Zora Neale Hurston was Zora Neale Hurston. So he sets a trash fire to burn all of the mounds and mounds of paper that he's yanking out of this house. Fortunately for us, a friend passing by with a hose managed to rescue this book among many of her other papers. It has now been posthumously published with commentary by a noted Hurston scholar, Deborah Plant. Hurston herself spent many, many decades researching King Herod, and the result is this deep dive into the man's life that almost reads like nonfiction. Herod was a powerful ruler during a dangerous time, caught between religious pressure and the advancing front of a mighty and seemingly unstoppable empire. Hurston carefully picks apart the pressures and the politics that he navigated and reveals a story far, far more complex than the straightforward villainy mentioned in the New Testament. Unfortunately, the novel is truly unfinished, both because of the fire and because of Hurston's own death. But Deborah Plant's insightful commentary kind of fills in the holes and brings the reader into Hurston's process. And the result is a fascinating and compelling examination of a historical king and the brilliant writer obsessed with telling his story. It's definitely a lot different from other books of historical fiction that you might read, but it is really, really, really interesting to anyone interested in stories of the Bible or in Hurston herself.
I've got one more pick for you too, and this is the one that probably you didn't need my help to discover. Apparently Jenna read it according to this sticker, and librarian here, Kathy, put it into the library's book club collection. So we've got lots of copies to check out for a long time if you'd like to pick one up. So if you haven't found it, here is my pet talk to you. It's called The Great Divide. It's by Cristina Henríquez. And you should know first that even from the outside in, this looks like a book about the creation of the Panama Canal. It's really a people book. It's not a high concept book at all. It's a book about a local fisherman, his son who works on the canal. It's about a runaway girl looking for work, that girl's mother back home, about a doctor fighting malaria, and on and on. And everybody's kind of loosely connected by time and space, but no tighter than that. My favorite part is that the author takes those 10 or so stories and somehow manages to weave them together into a book that really feels like a cohesive whole. And I especially like the perspectives shift without fanfare. There's a guy walking down the street, he sees a woman across the street, and all of a sudden, we're inside the woman's head. And the woman thinks of her mother back home, and all of a sudden, we're with the mother, and we're getting some of her story. And this establishes this flow that makes it really easy to get swept up in. And it's just the sort of story you might want to get caught in if you like following sympathetic characters through tough times. So even though things don't turn out all rosy and wonderful by the end, it's still something of a comfort, I think, to follow folks who are mostly nice and mostly trying to do the right thing, even though the world around them seems like it's not going so well. That's The Great Divide. Anything else to say, Anessa?
No, that's it for me, but if you want more recommendations, be sure to come to the library and check out our book display, or talk to us at the desk.